We're in a war. We're in a war against drugs, and we're losing that war.
Tonight, a First Nation in Manitoba is asking for help to tackle the drugs in their community.
And that's why I say the RCMP, was obstructing justice when they stopped me from enforcing, Wet'suwet'en trespass laws.
A Wet'suwet'en chief is declared by Amnesty International the first ever prisoner of conscience.
It's the feeling of being out on track. I don't know how to explain it. I guess it's just free.
And a First Nations woman is taking her passion for race car driving to the next gear. Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. Calgary-based TC Energy said on Tuesday it's selling a $1 billion minority stake in natural gas pipelines to a group of 72 Indigenous communities. APTN's Chris Stewart has that story.
Details of the agreement were announced at a press conference on Tuesday. That $1 billion is buying a 5.34% stake in TC Energy's Nova Gas and Foothill pipelines, which cover 25,000 kilometers of natural gas pipelines across Western Canada. And 72 Indigenous communities from Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia are part of a consortium that will be the part owners. They hope to have a steady income from natural gas.
For many years, we've talked about sovereignty, but you really can't have true sovereignty until you have financial sovereignty.
Alberta's Indigenous Opportunities Corporation supports Indigenous investment in agriculture, telecommunications, transportation, and natural resource projects. It is guaranteed the billion-dollar loan needed to make the purchase.
It's about ensuring Indigenous peoples are active at every level of the economy as owners, workers, and partners.
Because if there's one thing that brings people together, that thing is having a good business opportunity.
TC Energy made the sale to pay down some debt and advance reconciliation efforts.
It's nice when you can kill two birds with one stone. We're going to view this as an opportunity to learn, and if it accomplishes a corporate objective at the same time, all the better.
The deal is expected to be finalized in the next few months. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Edmonton.
Amnesty International has declared Wet'suwet'en chief Zahel its first ever prisoner of conscience. The non-governmental organization defines a prisoner of conscience as any person imprisoned or physically restricted because of their political, religious, or other consciously held beliefs. Amnesty International argues Canada has unjustly criminalized and restricted Chief Zahel for defending the land rights of Wet'suwet'en. In December 2023, the organization published a report on the human rights violations of Wet'suwet'en members and supporters by the state, CGL Pipelines Limited, and TC Energy. On July 4th, Chief Zahel was sentenced to 60 days of house arrest for breaching the Coastal GasLink pipeline injunction. Amnesty is calling for his immediate and unconditional release from incarceration. Chief Zahel, who joined the press conference remotely while on house arrest, stood by his defense.
I've always been told as a chief, to make sure that you keep your blanket clean, meaning there that when you have a regalia, you have to respect it, and that you will never do anything to dishonor it. And I don't believe that by me becoming an enforcement officer and enforcing trespass laws, that, I was well within my rights and I was not doing anything unjust. And that's why I say the RCMP, was obstructing justice when they stopped me from enforcing, Wet'suwet'en trespass laws.
After a string of violence, the Dakota Tipi First Nation in southern Manitoba is demanding the federal and provincial governments provide support to tackle the drug trade. As reporter Sierra Benton shows us, Chief and Council are turning to desperate measures, including evictions, to curb the crisis.
At the Dakota Tipi First Nation band office, 9 eviction notices are sprawled out on a boardroom table. Each notice is addressed to a band member accused of using or selling drugs. They'll be given 24 hours to leave before the RCMP force them out. It's a last resort for the Band Council, who say they've done everything they can to combat the crisis.
We have to struggle for our people to survive, for our young people. It's tough having to bury a lot of young people. And we have another funeral to go. We're in a war. We're in a war against drugs, and we're losing that war.
In Dakota Tipi, located about an hour outside of Winnipeg, virtually everyone has lost a relative to an overdose or drug-related violence. Portage La Prairie RCMP say a 28-year-old female from the community was abducted and assaulted by 2 women on July 25th. Then, this past Sunday, Chief Pache's nephew, Kennedy Elk, was murdered in Winnipeg. Back in February, the community declared a state of emergency to combat the drug trade. Today, they're calling on the federal and provincial governments to take action and provide resources.
These health service agencies, they just don't seem to be getting it, that our people are dying. I think every community is going through the same issue, that we are. It's a crisis. And we're trying our best to deal with it and help people, but at the same time, the resources aren't there to do it.
Dakota Tipi Finance Minister Miranda Smoke said members caught using drugs are given a written warning and connected to services. If they continue using, they are taken off traditional social assistance and moved to a food voucher program. As a last resort, they face eviction and banishment from the community.
If they're resistant to going to treatment, or they're flat out state that no, I don't need help, I'm fine, and they're in denial, then this would be our last draw.
A few kilometers from the band office, Councillor Carl Stone gives a tour of a former bed and breakfast the band currently rents. They hope to transform it into a treatment center, but they need more funding to make it happen. Stone ties disconnection from lands and culture to people turning to drugs to deal with trauma.
A trauma that our people had to endure from the loss of land and the loss of use to our lands and our medicine. And all that being stripped and taken away from our people have had to, suffer that.
He believes a treatment center could help regenerate those connections, helping people heal.
The land is something that could be beneficial for our people's healing, and so that they could get the help that they need to get off the drugs that they're on.
Back in November, the Band Council demolished a drug house. Justice Coordinator Braden Pache says the land will soon be home to multifamily housing.
Like all First Nations, we lack housing, and so this will benefit the community lots by having a fiveplex and giving these young people a chance to be homeowners.
In June and July, the community received apologies from Portage La Prairie and the federal government for past wrongs. However, Chief Pache says funding, not apologies, will help the community heal.
It's depressing in a sense, when we all know what the issue is and we've been advocating that issue, but it's fallen on deaf ears.
With government support, he says Dakota Tipi would hire more healthcare professionals, build a treatment center, and expand its safety officer program to help curb the drug crisis. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Thanks, Sierra. Time for a quick break. And then our conversation with the recently crowned Miss Universe Canada, Ashley Collingbull. Stick around. Welcome back. A First Nations woman in southwestern Ontario wants to take her passion for race car driving to the next level. Tamara Miracle earned her license to take part in racing competitions earlier this month, and she's set to take part in a women's race in the Middle East this December. APTN's Fraser Needham met up with her recently at the Motorsport track in Shannonville, Ontario.
Tamara Miracle is trying to live more of her life in the fast lane. On this day, she's pushing her personal car, a 2011 Chrysler 200, through its paces. But being a speed demon wasn't always at the top of her to-do list. It all started with a random Google search a few years ago.
I found a competition called Formula Woman on Google, and I kind of read up about it, and it's for women who have little to no racing experience. It's just to help get women into motorsports, because women are not quite as out there in motorsports as the men are. So I found that, and they actually were holding an assessment back at Calabogie in 2022, and I thought, why not? Give it a try.
Since then, the member of the Mohawks of the Bay of Quinte, who lives on the Tyendinaga territory, has been an active member of Formula Woman, taking part in racing competitions that have taken her as far away as the United Kingdom. On this particular day, Miracle is doing laps to complete what is called a racer observation. It's necessary to qualify for a regional racing license.
It's not meant for the track, but I make it work. I need to get out there and practice, and so I'll do what I have to do to be able to do that.
The car you got now, like we were talking
Nathan
about
Block
earlier,
of Brack Driving Concept is Miracle's personal instructor for the day. He has been competitively racing for decades. He says it's not so important what car is used as it is gaining an understanding of the rules of racing.
Understanding what the rules mean, what the flags mean, where you're supposed to park the car in the event of a red flag, things like that. So there's a lot more than can be explained in a 5 or 10 minute interview, but basically it's just making sure that when she goes out on track, she's safe and understands what everything means, and you have to know it because people's lives are on the line.
Miracle says she has learned a lot about racing in a short period of time, but the challenging part is gaining the confidence to apply what has been learned on the track and in competition.
I would have to say probably my confidence in myself. Like, it's a big thing because you're the one in control of the vehicle. If you're not confident, then you're not going to be able to do it. So it's just building that confidence for me, yeah.
Block agrees that part of becoming a successful racer is pushing your confidence level to do things you may have not tried before.
And then half the battle I do as a coach is trying to say, okay, here's what you did wrong. Here's why it went wrong. Let's learn from that, not do it again, and go back out there and try it again. Because yeah, racing's scary.
Race car driving is an expensive sport. Miracle estimates she has already spent several $1,000s just to get to the level she is at, but says she has definitely caught the racing bug and wants to go as far in the sport as she can.
It's the feeling of being out on track. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I guess it's just free. I just feel free. It's like my mind just calms down and I just focus, and it's amazing. I don't know how quite to explain it. It's just, I think everybody should go out and give it a try at least once to see if they like it or not.
Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Shannonville Motorsport Park, Ontario.
Love that story. Right on, Tamara. Live out those dreams. Well, Ashley Collingbull, a Cree actor, model, activist, and sports announcer from the Enoch Cree Nation in Alberta, has made history yet again. Over the weekend, the 34-year-old was crowned Miss Universe Canada, becoming the first Indigenous person to win the title. She was also the first Indigenous person to win Mrs. Universe Canada in 2015 and appear as the Sports Illustrated model a little more than 2 years ago. She now has her eyes set on Miss Universe in Mexico this coming November. I spoke with her earlier today. Ashley, thanks so much for joining us, and a huge congrats on being crowned Miss Universe Canada. Can you tell us what it was like to win the title over the weekend?
It was, I'm still processing all of it, honestly. It feels really good. My heart is so happy. I know this is a big win, not just for me, but for all Indigenous people to feel represented, seen, and heard. So I know the impact that this has.
Absolutely. Can you talk about some of the important issues that you wanted to highlight during the competition?
During the competition, we were given an option to do a speech, and I wanted to bring awareness to MMIW, murdered and missing Indigenous women, because, you know, I myself, as an Indigenous woman, I am targeted automatically. And I felt like in the pageant world, that's something no one gets to hear about. No one knows the true history of our country. And especially if I'm going to be representing our country, everyone needs to know the truth. And for me to be able to speak about that and bring awareness to it and also open everyone's eyes and ears to it, it's being talked about more so now. And that was the whole point, was for me to use my voice for others who are being silenced.
And like you say, not an issue many are aware about. Even in the United States, it seems like just in recent years it's been coming up more often. What was the reaction, I guess, to bringing that issue forward?
Honestly, a lot of people were really sad, crying, in shock. A lot of the people in the audience came up to me after and said, I had no idea Indigenous women were treated this way. We thought Canada was such a safe country for everyone and all women were treated equally. So yeah, it got a lot of people talking, and that's the whole point, right? Is to get that conversation going, let everyone know what's really happening and get that ripple effect going so more people will speak up.
Right on. Great for bringing that up. Well, with this new platform, do you hope to continue to push for change across Turtle Island and call for positive change for Indigenous women and girls?
Always, you know, as an ambassador and seen as a role model, I know there's a lot of young women and girls and men watching me, and I want to set a really positive example and be there and be a strong force for Canada at Miss Universe, but show everyone that Indigenous people are still here, we are rising, we are thriving, and to show that there's so much success on Turtle Island for Indian country, because, you know, the media likes to stereotype us and only show the negativities that we're going through. And for me, I want to highlight our talent, the people that are rising, the people that need to be seen and heard. So yeah, I feel like it's a big responsibility, but I am so proud to take it on.
Yeah, what comes, I guess, with the responsibilities?
What comes with it? Everything. Doing the most. You know, for me, I honestly get the option to create what I want to do with this title. You know, the organization is very lenient with me wanting to, you know, chase my dreams. So for me, as I'm given more opportunities with this title, I just want to be able to create more opportunities for other people as well, open that door and make sure other people are seen. So for me, I'm trying to travel across the country, work with more at-risk youth like I've already been doing, but I think I want to just amplify the work that I'm doing on a whole nother level. So for me, I'm excited to see what this brings and what more opportunities I bring for other people as well.
Well, you've certainly accomplished a lot in a short period of time. What's coming up next for yourself?
Well, I just finished, I filmed a series called Acting Good that's going to be coming out on APTN and CTV for season 3. I am also premiering my film, The Great Salish Heist. It will be playing at the Hollywood Film Festival this November. And I'm also writing a book. I just signed a book deal with HarperCollins, so I'll be releasing an autobiography next year. And obviously, I'll be going to Miss Universe this year, so that will be exciting. Hopefully, I can make history there once again.
Well, I am certainly pumped myself for season 3 of Acting Good, and The Great Salish Heist. Definitely check it out, the only Indigenous heist movie that exists, and looking forward to the autobiography as well. What is your message to Indigenous youth that are seeing you shine big and everything that you've done?
For me, you know, I never seen anyone like me doing the things that I was doing when I was younger, so it was hard to see the dream as being attainable. But now that I'm, you know, kicking the door open, it's so important for our youth to know that there's always someone watching you. Whether you're doing whatever, you're a role model, whether you know it or not, there's always someone watching you. That's something I learned from my cookum, is that it's so important to set a good example, whether if it's your cousins, your relatives. It's so important to love and appreciate yourself for the way Creator made you, and never let fear or what anyone ever has to say stop you from chasing your dreams. You know, I had to learn to listen to what my self-worth was and realize who I am and what I'm made of. So I pushed myself and I disregarded what everyone else had to say, because I knew in here, if it felt right, then I was on the right path.
Well, I'd say you've been on the right path, Ashley, and a great role model indeed. Again, a huge congrats. Appreciate you taking some time to chat with us today, and we certainly wish you the best on your journey ahead.
Thank you so much.
Coming up after the break, we'll look at some other inspiring people. We'll look at the Indigenous athletes representing Canada at the Paris 2024 Olympics, including one who is already a medal winner. Stick around. Well, Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. Our very own Chris Nachkate shared this photo of a beautiful beach day at Indian Point in Crooked Lake, Saskatchewan, Treaty 4 territory. Hope you're enjoying the beach there, Creason. Just kidding, I know you're at home. We want to see how you're enjoying the summer sun, though. You can email your photos to share@aptn.ca, and you could be our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, showers in 25 for Halifax and Fredericton. 13 with rain in Kuujjuaq, 8 in Nain with rain. 30 with showers in Montreal and Val-d'Or. 31 in Sault Ste. Marie, sunny, and 31 for North Bay. Showers and 30 in Thunder Bay, 29 in Sioux Lookout. In northern Manitoba, 31 with showers in God's Lake, 29 and rain for Norway House. 32 under the sun in Winnipeg, 33 in Brandon. 32 in Regina, 35 in Estevan. Sunny and 27 in Meadow Lake, 24 under sunny skies in La Ronge. In northern Alberta, showers and 20 for High Level and Fort Chipewyan. Rain and 28 in Edmonton, 34 in Lethbridge. 25 in Vancouver, sunny and 35 for Kamloops. 22 under sunny skies in Prince George, 23 in Smithers. 17 with showers for Old Crow and Whitehorse. 16 in Yellowknife, 20 in Norman Wells. 6 is the high for Sax Harbor, 16 in Polituck. Smoky and 15 for Chesterfield, showers and 11 in Whale Cove. 5 in Resolute, 6 in Joe Haven. Well, it has now been 6 days since the 2024 Olympics kicked off in Paris, France. A total of 315 athletes are representing Team Canada, 123 men and 192 women. So far, at least 5 of them identify as Indigenous. They are wrestler Justina Stasio from Norway House Cree Nation in Manitoba, swimmer Apollo Hess, who's been on the show here from Kainai Nation in Alberta, volleyball player Finn McCarthy, who is Métis from Lake Country, British Columbia, diver Margot Erlam, who is also Métis from Calgary, Alberta, and rugby player Shalaya Valenzuela from Shishat First Nation, who has already won Team Canada a silver medal. What an exciting game that was. Congrats to all of them for making Team Canada. Indigenous country will be watching closely as they compete in the coming weeks. More than 50 Indigenous athletes from around the world are competing this year in Paris. The final day of the Olympics is August 11th, and I have found myself watching way more of the Olympics than I would have thought I would be this year. That's all the time we have for your APTN National News for this Wednesday. For news anytime or more on anything you've seen here or tips on things you'd like to see here, visit our website, aptnnews.ca. And be sure to join us back here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when Creason will have your first look at the day's news. I'm Dennis Ward, Marcy McGuitch. Thanks for being with us. Have a great night.